So do you have enough information that you'll be able to recognize a racket when you run a racket in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah? So they'll cost you. People run rackets hard and long enough, they make themselves sick. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Speech acts. So tomorrow we're going to have the presentation of the certificates.
Only this or we will
Do we have a class or only the
We have a class.
we will cover some information and then you will present.
Will we have, we're going to have, yes. We're going to have a class the day after and then the next 3 days, if y'all come. We're gonna have classes. There's some really cool stuff that I can cover once we're done with the leadership course. But these are the certificates. They'll be presented by Dimitro and myself tomorrow. And he'll want to know how the class was for you, like what you got out of it. So, I've talked to both of you about what you got out of it. Have you?
I wasn't.
Right. Do you know what would you say would be the biggest thing that you got out of this class so far?
I will see you tomorrow.
You'll bring it tomorrow. Okay.
We need to have a speech about it.
Don't prepare anything. That'll make it be weird. I'll have you. I promise. I will have you be great. Whatever comes out of your mouth will be phenomenal. I will make sure that it is.
So in Kyiv-Mohyla will come to us
Yeah.
and we will talk about our courses.
Well, see, we're going to want to know from you if this is worth doing in the future, and if so, why? What did you get out of it? Do you know what? Are you present to what you got out of it?
Yeah.
What?
What? What's wrong?
I don't know. I'm asking you. What did?
I'm listening.
No, I just said. What? Can you tell me what you got out of this? Do you know on the top of your?
I have to think over all the things that happen here in these classes, and then tomorrow I'll be able to.
Okay, so just make some notes.
Yeah.
That's all I was asking is, are you present to?
You're always asking me if am I present here, and I think there's something wrong with me because I'm always listening.
Right, one of your winning formulas got triggered. So I was just asking you if you were present to any of it right now, and you would say, "Oh yeah, I blah 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 blah," right? You could say that. You don't have to know. I was just asking if you were present to it. Yeah. So we're considering having a class next year. 25 students. It will be like a full class, graded. A class that somebody would sign up for, not an elective kind of thing, right? You think it would be a good idea to have this class as part of the curriculum?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there is one problem, which you have to put marks for this course.
I know.
If it will be official.
Yeah, I know. We'll have to invent that whole thing. I mean, there are marks. This course is led at some, like the Air Force Academy grades students for when they go through the course. And there's other colleges that teach this. Anna Marie Rivera leads it at Temple University in Colombia, South America, and in somewhere in Japan. And it's a graded course, so I'll have to invent some way to grade it. That won't be a problem, but I didn't need to do that for this one.
I think it is official, and if you put marks
more people will go to this course. And not just because some of them are motivated by the mark, and if they know that they won't lose anything, not just lose anything. It's not really
Difficult.
Okay.
Obligatory.
obligatory. Yeah, they can not. I don't know. Spend their time on something that is not obligatory for them.
Exactly.
So if it will be official course, they will put it in their, I don't know, curriculum here, and they will attend more.
They'll actually do the collages.
Yes.
And it's really a good opportunity to practice your English.
Huh?
It's a good opportunity to practice your English.
Practice your English too, yeah. Did you learn English stuff in this course?
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot
Did
of
you-
new lexicons.
Huh?
A lot of new lexicons is presented.
Yeah.
What now?
A lot of new words.
You learned a few
Special
words.
lexicology there.
So you got vocabulary, anything else you got?
Yes, and every week practice. 3 times a week we just communicate in English, and it's help us.
It helps
Yes.
to practice come
The ability to understand maybe native
Yes.
speaker.
Yeah, ability to understand a native speaker.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, along the lines of what you said, people's actions are perfectly correlated to the way the world occurs for them. Do you remember that part from the leadership course? Yeah, you can't expect somebody's actions to show up in this elective class when there's something that needs to be done for credit and there's a threat to their grade. They're gonna not likely to want to come here. So yeah, their actions will be correlated to how it occurs. So having and giving a credit will alter how the course occurs. So anything else? Do you want to cover speech acts?
Mhm.
Yeah? All right. Speech acts. Given that leadership is an exercise in language, a certain mastery of language is required. Language as speaking and listening in all their forms. Regarding leadership and language, what is essential is precision rather than eloquence. Do you know the difference? Precision and eloquence.
Yeah.
Okay. So to be precise means something like, I will be at class early, in my seat, ready to go on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It's precise. I'll do this on this time, at this, right? It's measurable, it's precise. Eloquent would be just somebody using some very fancy words. But it wouldn't be so precise. Does that make sense? No.
No.
Okay. Well, let's see, how could I eloquently tell you? Well, I know that I said I would be here, but you know, the situation with the Maidan, and I'm supporting the Maidan, and then I can go on to the eloquent descriptions of the different positions with the different parties, and why it is a really good reason that I attend the Maidan and not come to the course. And I can speak about it very eloquently, and I can use some very nice big words and be very persuasive, but that's just reasons. It's not it's eloquent, it's my speaking using big words. Did you look it up?
Yes.
Did you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah.
Cross-the-most.
Mhm.
Everyone's.
So, regarding leadership and language, what is essential is precision. I don't care if you're saying it right. It's the promise. We already have an example of power of language and the power of a conversational domain. Word to world fit. This is a little tough. Your words match the world. World to word fit. Your world matches your words. Word to world fit. That's the first one. In a word to world fit, what you say fits the world already there. Loosely say, word to world fit is the power of language to represent or describe what is already there. So you're describing what's already there. Your word to world fit. World to word fit. In a world to word fit, what you say creates the world or brings the world forth, or some aspect of the world. Loosely said, world to word fit is the power of language to bring into existence some aspect of the world that does not already exist, or to alter the way the world itself exists by, for example, bringing into existence a future that was not going to happen. Do you understand the difference between the two? Yeah? As a speech act, your statement, accurate or not, of the existence or non-existence of something or some state of the world or something about yourself is termed an assertion. We covered this a little bit already, right? For an assertion to be effective, precise, in the exercise of leadership, the evidence you have for the validity of what you are asserting must also satisfy your listener as validating what you are asserting. Note, an assertion is different than simply being right about something. Okay, so assertion. I assert that there's snow on the ground. So you would go out and look for evidence to see that what I said would fit the facts. That's an assertion. So when you say, I promise, you're not speaking about a promise. Your word brings forth a promise into the world, rather than describing something already there. A promise is a speech act. Of course, you can speak about a promise that you've already acted into existence. A promise is your word given to a person or to an entity for a specific action or a specific result by a specific time. In other words, there's always a what, to whom, and a by when in a promise. I promise you a bag of candy in the next meeting. I promise you a certificate in your hand at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. To what, to whom, and by when. When you say I request, you're creating a palpable opportunity for some specific someone. Do you know what palpable is? Like you can feel it. People palpate pulses. Opportunity for some specific someone to make a promise or declaration, give their word to something other specific, to some other specific someone or someone's. The opportunity created is either promise to some specific action or produce some specific result, always by some specific time, a by when, or declaration, to take a stand with regard to something or to at least try on taking a stand with regard to something in order to observe the outcome of doing so. So I request that you all be here for the certificate presentation. So I'm creating an opportunity for you to make a promise or declaration, give your word. So do you accept?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So so also a request to take a stand. I request that you stand for bringing success into your and other people's projects in life. Yes, okay, so you declared that. So I invited you to take a stand, and you did. That would be another, that's what they're talking about in the last part. A request is only a request if the person to whom one is making the request has the opportunity to decline, except, give the word, counteroffer, are to promise to respond at a timely later time. Or you know that you don't have to be here, you know you have, right? You know you don't have to. I didn't put you under duress. You did that freely, yeah? That's what that's saying. You have the opportunity to decline. Or accept or counteroffer. No, I want my certificate next month and at a certain time. And then we can talk about that. Now, I don't know if you got my email, there's 2 classes of certificates. There's a certificate of participation here, and I'm going to create one called a certificate of completion. So if you've been to 66% of the classes and listen to the entire part of the times that you weren't here, the other 33%, and did the 2 collages, you are entitled to a certificate of completion. You tell me that you've done those things, and I will prepare another certificate that says Certificate of Completion. So that's my invitation to you. Offering. People can offer to make promises that can either be accepted, declined, or counter-offered. Why would anybody do this? That is to say, why would anybody put themselves at risk for doing something they were not asked to do? They do so because they're committed. That is, they have invested themselves in the realization of a future that wasn't going to happen. That's an offering. The dance of committed speaking and listening. To arrive at promises that make a difference, there is an interaction, dialogue, dance that involves the following moves. When you make a request, possible responses are accepting the request, which leads to a promise specified by the request, declining a request, which leads to no promise, although there may be a conversation around the basis of the decline that may shift an aspect of the decline or the decline itself. Counteroffering a request, which, if accepted, creates a new promise. As a request, offering a promise can be declined, accepted, or counteroffered. Got that? Commanding or demanding. With the authority to do so from the people with whom you are leading, you must be able to command or demand where that is what is required for the effective exercise of leadership. While we tend to think of a command or a demand as undeclinable, one can decline if one is willing to suffer the consequences of that decline. So that's command or demand. Got that? Inviting. An invitation is distinct from a request. Unlike a request, with an invitation there's no commitment on the part of the inviter for you to do something, only an opportunity. So this was an invitation. You can decline the invitation without explaining yourself or providing a basis upon which you are declining. So you don't have to send me an email that says, yep, I did all the work. You don't have to do that. In the domain of committed speaking and listening, leaders use invitations that have others engage in the possibility as a possibility. When people get present to a possibility, they may not take it on for themselves, but it does live for them as possible. A critical conversation to master the fulfilling of your leadership project and in fulfilling on what you are up to in life that is bigger than you are is enrollment. And the phenomenon of enrollment lives in inviting. When you say, this is a Speech Act declaration. When you say, I declare, you're not speaking about something. You are neither asserting, describing, nor promising. Rather, the Speech Act declaration, your word brings forth a future as a possibility, a future you are standing for, committed to. And you can be counted on to view what you are dealing with from the perspective of that possibility realized. The future brought forth in a declaration is not a someday, maybe kind of possibility, and it is not positive thinking. This is powerful when who you are is cause in the matter. Revoking your word is taking back your word to keep your word. As we said in this discussion of integrity, whenever you will not be keeping your word, just as soon as you become aware that you will not be keeping your word, including not keeping your word on time, saying to everyone impacted that you will not be keeping your word, and that you will not keep your word in the future, and by when, or you won't be keeping your word at all, and what you will do to deal with the impact on others with your failure to keep your word or keep it on time. Get it? Here's some pitfalls. We have 1 minute and 24 seconds. An invitation that is really a request. Your mother inviting you to a holiday dinner, right? It masquerades as a request, but it's really not. A request is really a demand. You can't decline that. Sincerity masquerading as a promise. A lack of specificity in the what, to whom, and by when associated with a promise. Not putting a promise into existence. Having a promise exist only in your head is a pitfall. Not learning the consequences of declining a command prior to declining. Last slide. Constituting yourself inside. What you are creating is bigger than yourself. You exercise leadership effectively through using and being used by committed speaking and listening. A possible template that is totally explicit. I declare the possibility of being, or we declare the possibility of being a group, company, organization that, and then you say I, or we stand for, and you fill in the blank. Or I, we commit to, and you fill in the blank. I, we promise, or request, or offer to have this course next year, for instance. All right, so where's your word when it comes time to keep it? We'll deal with that next time. So, we're out of time, but anybody have anything you want to say? I'm all ears.
I just wanted to, what is going to happen tomorrow? So, okay.
These.
But there will be classes afterwards.
Yes.
Because there is a lot of stuff to cover.
Well, yes. And there's some goodies that I have that's outside of the course normally. Like a vicious thing called a vicious circle, and perpetration withholds. And if you bring your collages, we can work with this phenomenon called disappearance, and I can show you how to disappear any problem, issue, upset, anything.
We have to do 2 collages.
Yeah, I need a collage in order.
1 or 2?
What's the topic of
Well,
the second
first-
collage?
What?
What's the topic of the second collage?
Some complaint that you have, something that you're dissatisfied with, something that's persisting that you don't like, something that you would like to get rid of, some problems.
Something about complaints, yeah?
Yeah, some predicaments, something you don't like, something you don't want around anymore, something you're putting up with and you've been trying to change forever. But images, no words, and no white space, just pictures.
But
Okay?
if everything is alright and you're happy and there's no problems, I just came to fulfill my, not to fulfill, just to make my integrity work because I had an exam in my maths.
Right, I know that you guys have exams. And you can, I'm open to requests. What I put up there is subject to negotiation. So what I did is I made certificates of participation, which anybody who came more than half of the classes, or listened to half of the classes, I'll give them a certificate of participation. It means they participated. Now a certificate of completion means you have to do the 66%, being here 66% of the time, listen to the 33% from, beginning to end that you weren't here, not just turn it on, say, oh, I did it, and turn it off. That's not fulfilling that request. And doing the 2 collages. Now, I'm open to requests and negotiating, so for some extra, something I have, when you're going to make these collages about something that you don't like or you don't want, right? Then when we use our mirror neurons and we complete it, and we get it, right? There will be space in the future drawer. So you're going to see the 5 steps of creating a creative future in this process of doing a collage. That's going to be on the court. You're going to see this in a way that you'll never get over it, right? So we're going to take something that's in your future that you don't want there, that's persistent and complaint, and you're not happy with, and put it in the past.
Okay.
And you're going to have some space in the future drawer, and for extra credit, or if you want to say, well, you know, I wasn't at 66%, I was at 60, but I will do this creating a future collage, or I will, well, you know, what can we negotiate here? And then I'll say, well, you know, do this, and, you know, and I'll have a certificate of completion available for you next fall. And you say, oh, I won't do any good next fall. I want it by January the 1st. And then, okay, and then we'll talk about January the 1st, and then I'll have to call Dimitri, and how are you going to sign this? And, you know, and he'll print it out on his printer, and, you know, we'll negotiate this. This is fulfilling the concerns of the parties involved, okay? So what else about that? Anything else about that? Right, so I'm open to requests and
So there will be some classes after.
yes, there will be a class tomorrow and the next day, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, and that's it.
And
But we pretty much covered all the stuff that really needs to be covered once you do the videos to actually be a leader and exercise leadership effectively.
Just to revise and to collect it into each places. Like, just to revise the stuff. But this is the stuff you can always work with. We can always work with.
Yes.
So that's nice.
Yes.
Are we gonna see it on another film?
What?
What about movies?
Movie.
Are we going to
movie.
see it?
No.
No.
Well, there might be a movie that we could show during class.
How about
We'd have to talk about it, what it's gonna be.
that?
You know, salmon fishing on the Yemen is cool. Avatar is totally leadership. 2 different cultures, and there's a man and woman relationship in there, and they are actually let themselves be used by this distinction in leadership because they create a powerful future, and they're used by that future, even though she had an amygdala hijack. Remember her amygdala hijack? I thought you, right? But he didn't, right, respond to it. He didn't say, oh, you don't love me, oh, life is over. He just let her have the hijack until she can't calm down. So it's all in Avatar. If, you know, once we get, you know, we can look at it. And we can also do the course, the whole course from beginning to end in 1 hour. And you can lead it, because you'll know, yeah, that's it, that's complete, and we'll just do the whole course in 1 hour. Or you've got it. But you don't know how much you really have. But you will get it if we do that. So we can do the whole course in 1 hour, if you want.
Okay, that would be nice.
Okay.
So I'm sorry for
Huh?
that I came